Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. Lord Crocker Squirrel, Mangler of Misinformation here with yet another ADHD gamer. Yeah, I know it's turning into a habit, but at least it's a short habit, unlike, say, 5-hour live streams. In today's offering, we have a new MMORPG, Kings and Heroes. It's an early access title that just launched, so a lot of what I'm about to say is subject to change for better or worse over the coming months, or, as is more likely, years. Okay, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first. This isn't World of Warcraft, and it won't be the Magic WoW Killer. World of Warcraft has its own special place on the shelf alongside Final Fantasy XI and 14, EverQuest, Ultima Online, all the other long-beloved favorites. This is a new IP, and as such, has a certain roughness to it that most people will find charming. That's not me. I'm not particularly impressed. For the time I had to play, there were major issues with the game that need to be corrected. First, the servers simply weren't ready for the initial load. This is a smaller game on Steam, so it's easy to underestimate the level of demand, which is why a lot of companies intentionally over-engineer the servers to handle the load. You would think that after the problems a number of high-profile games had with that sort of thing, they'd have worked it out. Next, the entire game is badly in need of optimization, from the textures and models to the world AIs, which apparently had a bug in them that was hurting in-town performance and had to be entirely disabled. That cut down on the rubber banding, but generated other issues alongside it, starting with the nasty frame rate drops even at medium and low quality. Next, character creation. Somebody needs to have a look at their Dungeons & Dragons books again. It's a straight 3d6 taken in order with unlimited rerolls regardless how much the old hag complains about having other customers behind you. You select class and race first and then roll stats with no alteration in your scores to take your class into account. It's possible, if you just click next repeatedly without paying attention, to walk into town with an orc wizard complete with 1 as an intelligence of 3, or a halfling fighter type with a strength and constitution of 3 and 4 respectively. Then you get plopped into the middle of town with absolutely zero guidance. Not that that's a bad thing per se. EverQuest survived a long time like that and people loved it. The problem with that is there aren't any NPCs with quests lying about, at least not any that I found. You have to go quite a distance to get to a camp. The big draw is the dungeons, some of which the player can generate on their own via NPCs at the various tables at the inn, who are also the matchmaking service. I've talked to a lot of people in town and found upkiss. The people from the WoW generation, this will seem new, fresh, and utterly frustrated. For those of us, myself included, that remember the original generation of MMOs, this looks all too familiar. For some, it'll be a return to form, and to others, thoughts of the worst things about those games. It's a bit too early to see about endgame content, but given the state of the current batch of content, I'm not going to hold my breath. The real question becomes how they're planning to monetize the game beyond the $30 price tag. They appear to be using the Steam servers at the moment, but that may need to change at some point. The biggest logistical problem with MMOs is the need for bandwidth. Lots and lots of it. That's expensive just by the nature of the beast. With just the price of the client in play, I can see this game shutting down in a fairly short time without some other source of income. It's entirely possible they'll break off the servers when they get to full release and then institute a monthly fee, which I hope they do, if only to avoid the temptation for a quick cash grab through an in-game shop. So what will happen? I don't know. The devs appear to be attentive to the players at this point, so it may be they'll get their problems straightened out in fairly short order. To the devs, as this is an early access release, here are my suggestions. Start with a proper title screen with a chance to get into the options menu, or at least make the default graphics quality to medium. Leading edge computer and defaulting to ultra, while it looks awesome, is probably going to smack a few players in the backside before they can get things adjusted to a more reasonable level. Also, have a look into the general narrative and try and work out a way to feed us the lore of the place we're hanging out in, rather than just dropping us in cold with a letter from the mayor saying, "Welcome." We need a reason to care about the world we're exploring. The most beloved games of this type all have rich, deep histories, even if they look like crap initially. Give us a reason to care and then introduce Pretty along the way. I'm not going to recommend this title now, but I will be keeping an eye on it to see how it improves over time. If you can meet the standards set by such luminaries as EverQuest and Final Fantasy XIV, then you'll get my vote. You've got an excellent start, but that's what it is. A start. It's my opinion that if you keep the comms open and don't get cocky, you could have a game with a long and profitable life. The real work begins now.